And another thing, and this interaction happened here in the hostel where I am staying. I was having breakfast yesterday, and this is the habit that I have formed when I'm having breakfast. I take my coffee, and then after coffee, while I was eating, I take a full mug of cow's milk, because it has, I'm sure that it's Swiss cow's milk because it says so. It says so on the little tag on the where you can pour it from. So I take one of that because it's not always that you can have this opportunity to drink an authentic Swiss cow's milk. For me, at least, not. I'm not that, And here I have access to that. So I accessed it. I took a mug, and this guy probably thought that no one is occupying that seat already, because I don't have my bags there or my coat or any of my belongings there. I only have one empty glass and 3 strips of sugar, 3 paper strips of sugar that are already empty. So he must have thought that, well, maybe someone forgot or something. So he took, and it so happens that I'm already arriving back from my quest to get a full mug of Swiss cow milk. And I saw him taking the trash, the empty, where the sugar was. I saw him, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I can do that myself or something. And he replied to me with a very kind head voice, like, oh, it's okay, like this. I would like to emphasize that he replied to me on a very kind head voice, my friend. And he is a male person on his middle age, and there's something in my heart that I felt there. There's something so heartwarming about that interaction. There's something so... He replied to me in a way that made me feel like he understands. And I feel like he's the owner of this. Yeah, I think he's the owner of this. Because, and yeah, I think he lives there also. Because he is always there first thing in the morning, and he's also there during the night. I checked in late when I arrived, and he was there. So, and then I thought he just works there in the evening, but then I saw him again in the breakfast sort. He's the one who's preparing the breakfast buffet and all. And this morning I saw him, he's eating. So in my head I'm like, maybe he lives here. Maybe he lives here. Maybe he owns the place. And also another thing that kind of supported my belief that he lives here or that he owns this place is there was a crying toddler holding a doll of some sort. And I saw this little girl on the first floor crying, hugging the door. And then he ran downstairs. She ran downstairs. I saw her because I was also going downstairs. She ran downstairs and went to the kitchen. And the man was there, and she hugged the man, and then the man lifted her up. So I'm like, yeah, that's probably his child or some relative that also happens to live here. But yeah, you can see the life. It's just so also this hostel is dogs. This hostel is very child friendly. There's some slides and sometimes you can hear in the stairways or the hallways, "Mama!" "Mama!" Something like this. "Mama!" And then even it doesn't end here. It took some kind of screenshot. What is that? I don't know, but maybe it's fine. It doesn't end here, the warmth of the life. It also extends in the city where I was in Bern. Because yeah, like I said, the previous interactions, there's more. It's just, when you look at people's faces, it feels as if the facial muscles are hydrated, and it feels like there is blood circulating there. The expressions, the emotions that can be conveyed through silence, and just the face, the subtleties of the facial expressions, you can see it on the faces of the people, and it's so nice to see. Even even when I felt like someone got irritated at me because I almost bumped the person, in my head, in some parts of my mind was just so joyful to see some kind of reaction. I'm like, you're alive because you're getting irritated. You're alive. I can see some signs of life on your face. Maybe you don't feel pleasant with that I almost bumped you, but you're alive and you're here. Sort of feeling that caused me. Because that's another thing, I almost bumped someone multiple times. I understood that this is probably some kind of residue of where I'm currently residing, because there isn't much people there, and I'm so used to just, I'm not very big in my movement, but still, for example, when I was on the bridge, I dropped a map, my city map, and I kind of just leaned over, and then the guy, the irritated person, was behind me. So obviously I didn't see him. I was just trying to pick up my map, and when I looked at him, he looked very he looked very alive. And also it happened again. This one, I admit, I probably was zoning out or not paying a lot of attention. because I almost bumped into an elderly gentleman. And he had the most interesting reaction I have ever seen for a long time. Because, yeah, he's an elderly gentleman, so he has seen things. He has lived through times that I will never have the pleasure or privilege of being submerged in. And when I almost bumped him, he has this very calm look on his face. He's almost smiling. You can see the eyes, the years on his eyes, and he's looking at me, and he looked so calm, and but at the same time there's a hint of sourness in there. It's a perfect blend of surprise, amusement, and being offended. And the demand for the apology. So my system was just so shocked of this reaction that I apologized even before I was ready. Because usually when I apologize, I made it a point that I will look at the person, acknowledge that they're human and that I have done something wrong, so that my apology will truly reach them and it's warm. But with the elderly gentleman, because of how shocked I was, I felt like my apology felt mechanical. It didn't feel human, at least to me, because I still haven't gone through the process of warming it up inside my system. It felt, yeah, because he was also heading out because it was a supermarket, and yeah, supermarkets very fast paced. So yeah, the apology was cold, and I was also a bit scared. Because yeah, because his face looked as if he's conveying through his silence, if you don't apologize right now, child, so help me God, or something like this. But at the same time, it still feels forgiving, this gentleman. There's a human. I'm not sure if they're going there, but yeah, probably should go somewhere because I might be interrupting their working hours. See you.